Good day, ma'am. I'm Phoenix C. Gomez. I'm from M37 Lab K. So I'm here to present my unknown from hospitals, communities, the identification of Klebsiella pneumoniae from unknown source. So before we let's tackle about objective first. So the primary objective of the project is to identify the unknown microorganism through a series of cultures and biochemical tests. Once determined, the organism, origins, occurrence, and health implications are reported to provide further information on the bacteria. So let's move on now to the introduction. So Klebsiella pneumoniae is a gram-negative, non-motile, and usually encapsulated red shape. The bacteria that belongs to the family, these bacteria are able to produce lysine decarboxylase, but not ornithine decarboxylase. Klebsiella spp in general often occur in mucoid colonies and usually positive in the Bugs-Prescower test or VP. So, in the occurrence, humans are the reservoir of Klebsiella pneumoniae. Generally, 5 to 10 to 38% of individuals in the community carry the organism in their stool, while 1% to 6% are found in the nasopharynx. The main reservoir of infections are the gastrointestinal tract of the patient and the hands of the hospital staff. Among those developed pneumonia, while supported the ventilator, between 8% to 12% are caused of the bacteria, while only 7% the patients who are ventilated. Klebsiella pneumoniae accounts for 11.8% all of hospital-acquired pneumonia globally. Other host factors that predispose colonization and infections include admission to an intensive care ward, prolonged often invasive devices for infections control strategies, and immunocompromised, especially alcoholics and diabetics, and lastly, prolonged use of broad-spectrum antibiotics. So now, let's move on to disease associations. Klebsiella pneumoniae is considered among the leading causes of commonly acquired nosocomial pneumonia. And what is mean on nosocomial? So it is acquired in hospital. So nosocomial pneumonia and lung abscesses. Furthermore, infection in the upper lobe is increasingly common. Symptoms of disease associated with bacteria include fevers, chills, leukocytosis, and recurrent gel-like sputum. A few of its rare complications include lung infection that involves necrosis and sloughing the entire lobe. The bacteria is also important causative pathogens for pyogenic liver abscesses, with symptoms such as fever, right upper quadrant pain, nausea, and vomiting, or diarrhea or abdominal pain, and leukocytosis. Abscesses often occur predominantly in the right lobe and typically solitarily. There are different types of Klebsiella pneumoniae. The classic one is strains that can live in the body do not usually cause harm. These are spread in hospital and long-term care facilities. The second is hypervirulent, also called community-acquired. Those strains are more likely to cause severe illness and spread outside of healthcare facilities. So how you can get Klebsiella pneumoniae through transmission or infection from contaminated medical equipment like urinary catheter or ventilator, contaminated soil or water, respiratory droplets, from coughing and sneezing from the other person, or cuts, burns, or other ones that break your skin-to-skin contact with other people, surgical procedures. That's all how you can get the Klebsiella pneumoniae. So let's move on now to lab diagnosis. An infection with Klebsiella pneumoniae is confirmed through either sputum culture analysis, blood culture analysis, or midstream urine, depending on the illness of the patient. The material is then inoculated into blood agar medium and incubated aerobically. In blood agar, the colonies are mucoid and non-hemolytic. Meanwhile, the McConkey agar or MAC, the colonies are pink in color, which indicates that they are lactose fermenting. After pure cultures are obtained from colonies in aerobically incubated plates, they undergo biochemical tests and colony morphology like gram staining. So after we go with the lab diagnosis, we'll go to the methods. So these are the methods. So first, my unknown was gram-negative rats. So in my test, the light pink colonies was on McConkey MAC or MAC, or in the blood agar plate was colorless mucoid. And the biochemical test was test I positive, acid over acid, no H2S, and my LIA also negative for H2S, negative also. Then my PAL test was negative, and the urea was negative also. And the OF, negative, no oxidation, OFM, or positive for fermentation of glucose. So in the sugar fermenters, they are positive for sucrose, ram, glucose, and lactose, and mannitol. So non-sugar fermenters, they are not negative also. They are not negative, so they are all positive for sugar. So in my MVIC, the SIM was negative non-motile, then negative for MR, and VP for positive, and for the citrate was positive. So these are all my methods for my unknown source. So for my result, the gram stain, gram-negative rats in singly, the plates I was used with BAP colorless gray mucoid. This indicates beta hemolytic activity, and also for my MAC or McConkey plate, light pink mucoid colonies, this indicates a negative reaction. The result will be shiny green colonies if the organism was Escherichia coli or E. coli. So for my tubes was test I, acid over acid with bubbles indicating that the organism is gas positive. Since there are no black precipitate seen, it is H2S negative. The organism is glucose and lactose and also sucrose fermenter. So for the PAD test, no color change. This indicates that there is no reactions. The bacteria cannot synthesize the phenylalanine deaminase enzyme. So for the urea, no color change also. This indicates that there is no reaction. However, this result is tentative as a further incubation is advised for weak positive bacteria. So for my glucose, color change, the color was changed. This indicates glucose fermentation. So lactose, color change also, and sucrose also is color change for my sucrose. So in my mannitol and ram was also color change. This indicates sources of sucrose ferment. This indicates that it has sugar fermentation for my sugar. So to my arginine or no color it has no color change. This indicates that there is no reaction. The bacteria does not have arginine dehydrolase, so it cannot hydrolase arginine to ornithine and ammonia. So for my orni, no color change also. This indicates that there is no reaction. The bacteria does not have ornithine decarboxylase, so it cannot convert ornithine to protein. So for my MVIC reaction was negative for non-motile. For MR, no color change, so it was negative. So my BEP is a VP. Color change it has color change. So it is positive for my VP. And the citrate also was color change to blue to equals to positive. So to conclude my result, given the result from the culture plates and biochemical test, the organism that is very likely for my unknown is Klebsiella pneumoniae, apart from characteristics in the BAP and MAP. Arginine and ornithine test, following the scheme for identification of isolates provided by our laboratory manual, the gram-negative brands are H2S negative, and deaminase negative, indole negative, and non-motile, all leading to Klebsiella pneumoniae. The MV result was aligned all well that of the Klebsiella pneumoniae species, indicating that the identification is accurate. So for my recommendation for this, given the negative result, urase result, which be positive for Klebsiella pneumoniae, further incubation is required as the bacteria usually has a delayed change in color to bright pink. Supposedly, the bacteria can produce enzyme urase which dissociates with urea into carbon dioxide and ammonia. A reaction shown through a change in color, thus Klebsiella pneumoniae is a weak positive organism for the urase test. It needs more than 48 hours of incubations for more than incubation time I gave for the test. So that's all for my recommendation. So let's move on now to my reference. These are all my references, and that's all for my presentation. Thank you for watching, Mount, and to everyone. I hope you liked my PPT presentation for my unknown sources, and I identified it to Klebsiella pneumoniae. That's all.